First thoughts about the matchup that you saw for your team?
Oh, super excited about the challenge. It's a really good regional. All four teams that are in it are deserving of where they are at this point in their season, and we're excited about the opportunity to go over to Auburn, and think it's close enough for certainly our fans to be able to travel, and which I know they will, just like they did to Montgomery in that tournament.
Your postseason career was in Auburn back in 2010. Now you're last year.
Well, I hope it's a different outcome, but I'm so grateful for the 14 years. And you're right, Andrew. That first regional there as a head coach was at Auburn, and it was a really good field. Best I can remember, had Clemson, Jackson State, ourselves, and Auburn in it. Where it ends this year will be fun too, but it'll be no different than any other regional that we've been a part of. It's going to be a really good challenge, but we look forward to that opportunity.
Is it safe to say you're a much different head coach compared to back in 2010?
I don't think so. In all honesty, I'm sure I've learned a lot along the way, but I think I'm still the same person and how I handle things, and I really don't think that I'm much different there. Probably a better coach, and just being able to learn from past mistakes and past successes. So with that being said, maybe I'm a little different.
Hey Coach, nice to meet you. Brad Davis, WAPT Sports.
Yes, sir.
So you said after the Sun Belt final that it's really your players that kind of gives you the joy from winning, not as much the winning itself. So how special is it to be at events like today where you get to see your team celebrate all the hard work they've done making the tournament?
Well, that's what it's all about. They're very deserving of it. They're young men that are 18 to 22 years of age. Maybe some of them are 23, but regardless, they're guys that are student athletes that have to juggle their schedule with a balance between the academic side and the athletic side, and that's not easy to do. So just grateful and very appreciative of the work that they give us, and just love to see a team come together like this one has, and be able to get the opportunity to move it forward. There's only 64 that are able to do that. There's only 31 that have automatic bids. We were able to sew that up. I never like to put it in the committee's hands, just kind of like the host opportunity. You don't like to do that. You want to make sure that you take care of business, and certainly that winning that Sun Belt Conference title yesterday gave us that automatic and took it out of the committee's hands to whether to put you in or to not.
Coach, obviously. Talk about the Storm performance a little bit yesterday. That was pretty incredible coming in relief.
Yeah, it really was. It just mirrored the performance that he gave us last year in that game on Sunday evening against LSU, where he went 5 innings. I think he had 7 strikeouts and 1 walk, and only gave up 2 or 3 hits to move us into that winner-take-all game on Monday night. So we knew he had the ability to do that. That was kind of his breakout game, in all honesty. He's been carrying us there on the back end of the game this whole year, and hadn't had a lot of long stints on his outings. But yesterday we kind of lined it up. Nico was going to take us as far as he could. Then we were going to take it to give it to Storm and see how far he could take us, and certainly he saved us from having to use Tanner. We had Tanner in the bullpen. We also had Billy in the bullpen, so they were available only on short stints, but thankfully Storm was able to cover the distance, much like Tanner did on Friday night, to save our bullpen and save our staff. And what he did yesterday continues to give us rest as we move forward into the Auburn Regional.
Coach, obviously you've watched a lot of sport, been through this process, but this is your last time doing it, right? So what was kind of going through your head as they're releasing all the team and you're not picked yet?
Say that, Scott. Say that again one more time.
Obviously you've watched a lot of these before, right? But this is your last time doing it, right? So what was kind of going through your head through this whole process, since it is the last time?
Really not anything different. Just how blessed and grateful, that I am to have the career that I've had and be in this profession and be able to make so many friendships and relationships over the course. I love to watch young men grow, and like to think that you have an impact on them in some small way that they'll carry with you for years. And we all talk about the tradition at Southern Miss in baseball and winning championships. And yesterday was no fluke. That's who we are, and that's what we do. It's in our DNA now and has been for some time. So tradition is built on just exactly that. And as I listened to some of those teams that were announced, and first time that they've been in 15 years and all that, those teams are trying to get tradition, and I respect that. But they have to be consistent, and that's one thing that our program has been able to be, and that's consistent, and that's what's built our tradition. And it's no different with these guys that have carried us this year. So grateful for our seniors and those guys that have laid the groundwork and continue to carry that. In this day of free agency, I'm very grateful to the loyalty that these players showed that could have probably gone somewhere else that we see year in, year out now, but they were loyal and stayed with us for a reason. They're invested in this program, and they understand what this is all about, and they want to be a part of it.
Coach, you bring a lot of experience into this regional. How important is that experience, and especially given that experience, to the younger guys in the room too?
Well, I think it's just going to be passing the torch. In all honesty, with particularly the older players, they're not a stranger to this. I think this is our 7th or 8th consecutive regional? I don't know. 7th? Okay. 7th consecutive regional. So every player that's been in this program more than 1 year understands what regional play is and what we have to do. Last year we knocked that wall down by winning that regional, which is the first time since 2009 when we went to Omaha. So they understand what it takes to win a regional. Next step, obviously, if we can attain that, is to get through that super regional and get back to Omaha like we did in 09. So we're going to gain the experience that those guys have had being in this situation in prior years.
Early in the season, there was one game really early where your team had a lead and they kind of gave it up at the end, and you said afterward they had to learn how to win and you wanted to use that as a learning experience. Even though this team has so much experience overall, how have they grown maybe toward this end of the year here? Have you seen that?
Well, I think they've grown together. I think the chemistry, the separation between the starters and the reserve players and the backup players and the role players, however you want to label it, has finally took place. We've had a couple of gut punches, particularly the one at Coastal Carolina that really taught us a lot. You reflected on a game early in the year where we weren't able to hold a lead, which we've been able to do for so long. I don't really remember what game that was, but I think those experiences right there are learning experiences moving forward. You don't look at a loss as just a loss. You look at it as a learning opportunity moving forward and being able to be successful if that opportunity presents itself again. And I think that's one thing that this team has been able to do. They've been able to learn from past failures. Obviously, winning 19 of the last 21 games is a reflection on a team that's mature and understands those past experiences of both success and failure.
What has Nick Monaster added to the team?
Just a really great energy as a young man. I think it's a selflessness in his part where he sat and watched for a long time. I'm sure in his own mind he felt like that he should have had an opportunity. He never displayed it. He never showed it in his body language. He stayed the course. He kept taking his reps, kept working hard. And like I said, very unselfish person. His teammates saw that. And then when it became opportunity there in the third game against Old Dominion on that Easter weekend, when I decided to put him in that lineup, he never gave me a reason to take him out. And since then, he's given us a whole new spark, particularly down there in the back end of the lineup, giving us a lot of production there. So really, really proud of that young man and how he stayed the course and was ready for the opportunity and didn't sulk until he got it.
Were there any lighthearted jabs in that first game where he kind of tripped around the base a couple of times after those first two hits?
No, I tell you what though, it was a pleasure to watch him do what he did there on that Sunday, and when he got the opportunity, he made the most of it. And I think he was just probably trying so hard, with that opportunity that his body got a little ahead of himself on that.
Just one more thing for you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Obviously, this is the last run for you, and so at any moment could be the final game. So
right.
how do you plan to maybe take this in as you are also trying to win along the way?
I'll take it in no more than any other year. There will be plenty of times for me to reflect on the good times of this career and this job here and the many blessings that have come in my life. And that's what I plan on doing. When it's all said and done, I'll sit back and I'll think of the championships. I'll think of all the great relationships. I won't think about any of the bad times, the hard times, or the disappointing times. those things won't be in my mind. It will be the good times.
Thank you, Coach. Seeing the Auburn stuff and everything, you're sitting there. Just kind of, what was going through your head?
Honestly, I'm really excited because, I mean, we wanted to keep playing this year, and this is a good opportunity, to go play some really good teams in a regional. And, I mean, somewhat it's kind of fun to go somewhere else, and I've never played at Auburn before, so I feel like that'd be fun to go and compete out there. And, I mean, we're just really excited.
Do you know anything about the teams in the regional? I mean, what's just kind of your take?
I don't know much about them. I guess we'll find that out this week and get some scouting reports and stuff. But I'm sure they're all good teams. They're in a regional, so I mean, can't doubt any of them, no matter what their seed is. You just got to go after all of them like they're the 1 seed, and we're going to do our thing as Eagles, and that's what we do.
How different is it going in as a conference champion this time as compared to not like last year?
It feels great. I mean, definitely we got more confidence going into it because, my last 2 years we lose that conference tournament, and we know, or we're sure we're going to make a regional and stuff, but this kind of, gives you that little boost to know that we really have what it takes to win some type of championship, and that could be the College World Series. So, I mean, you got to take it one game at a time, and we're going to use that momentum to roll throughout the rest of the year.
So what is it that stands out to you most right now about this team at this moment that says you guys can go all the way?
Honestly, I think it's our ability to bounce back and stuff. Like after we lost that first game to App State, we came back and all the mistakes that we made in the first game were kind of avoided that second game, and you could see that we had a lot more emotion out there, and we were making sure that we did the little things right. And I feel like that's something that shows this team's very mature, is that we're going to go out and do mature things on the field. If we make a mistake, we're going to make an adjustment and not just keep doing the same thing over and over. And I think that's a really good thing for us.
About this pitching staff as a whole, obviously back-to-back, or not back-to-back, but Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year. You've done all these great things, but then Justin Storm yesterday, like all these other guys. Just talk about being a part of that staff.
I mean, this staff is amazing. I mean, we're really good, and you can see it. And whenever we're on, it's tough to be a hitter that day. And I mean, we got guys that are leaders in the bullpen and leaders, in the starting rotation. And I feel like that's really important because we're all working together as one unit. And I feel like we've been doing that really well towards the end of the year. Right here is kind of putting all the pieces together. At the beginning of the year, I feel like it was kind of rocky. We'd be on then off, and lately it's like when a guy's getting called out there to go pitch, it's compete mode, and I feel like everyone's on the same page with it.
Yeah, and in that conference final, I know the competitor and you probably wanted to be out there pitching, but just talk about having to have the trust in your guys and how they really delivered in that final.
Oh yeah, Justin Storm. I mean, I'll start with Nico Mazza. He goes out and he does his thing. He's been doing good the last couple of weeks, and I mean, no one's surprised. He's got great stuff, some of the best stuff on the team, I would say, and whenever he's in the zone, it's almost unhittable. And when Justin Storm comes in the game, he's not surprising anybody. Everybody knows he's going to go out there and compete. And whenever he did what he did, I was not surprised at all to watch that, because I mean, he's got great stuff and he attacks hitters, and that's one thing that Coach Oz teaches us, is to go right at guys. And he was doing that the whole game, and I feel like that's why he saw himself, seeing that success during the game, and I'm glad he got to get that experience, because I mean, that's electric, and I can only imagine what it was like to be out there for that.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Dan.
Tanner, all week in Montgomery, you guys are saying, hey, we want to play this thing, we want to host a region. You guys won the Sun Belt. Obviously, you're on the bus back, and that's when they announced the sites, and you guys weren't picked. So it's kind of, what was that reaction on the bus, and what you guys talk about after that?
I mean, it was definitely a bummer a little bit, but something you gotta deal with. We kind of put that on ourselves, dropping some games early in the year, and we knew that early in the year when we were losing games that we should have won. I was kind of thinking to myself, like, this is kind of how you lose your regional spot and things like that. But we picked back up, and that's kind of all that matters. As long as we keep that momentum rolling with us, it doesn't matter if we're playing at the Pete or if we're playing at Auburn. We're gonna stay the same team, and we're gonna keep fighting against guys.
Tanner, Scott was talking about just being able to break that barrier from last year, winning a regional. How does that kind of shift to this year about knowing that y'all have been able to do it before and beat an SEC team like an LSU or like an Auburn?
Honestly, it helps a lot, because my freshman year when we didn't get out of a regional, I really saw how hard it was to get out. It's not as easy as it seems, especially if you end up dropping a game, because you got to extend and you lose pitching and stuff like that. But it really showed that it's possible, and that if you just go out and compete, you're going to find a way to win, and it also shows that there's going to be guys that are going to step up that some people might not have even seen this year, and they're going to go out and pitch in this regional and get us 4 or 5 innings of no-hit baseball probably, and it's going to surprise a lot of people, and we're going to be in the dugout expecting that, because that's kind of what happens when it's postseason. Everyone's rising to the occasion. I feel like that's what we do really, really well.
Just kind of a funny question for you in a way. Is there any little pressure at all to be the 3rd Mississippi team in a row to kind of go to Omaha and keep this going?
I don't think it's pressure. I think it's just opportunity. I feel like that gives us a really good chance, to just go out and show out for our state, because, we got the 2 Mississippi teams the last 2 years, but that puts us in a perfect spot to add pressure to other teams to they don't want to let us do that, and I feel like that's something that we're gonna definitely go after, is to try to win it for the state of Mississippi.
One more thing, if you don't mind. I didn't get a chance to ask you yet. That coach, honestly, like you said, he oversees the pitching staff. So to see him promoted, just what is that? What do you think about that fact?
That's awesome. He deserves it 100%. I wouldn't want anyone else, taking that job. He's worked his butt off to get to the point where he is, and that's something that you can see in him. He's a competitor, and the way he encourages our pitching staff and teaches our pitching staff, it's almost no other coaches like that to me, and I feel like he's really going to keep this program rolling in a positive direction, and that he's going to be a winner for sure.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.